Hey guys, this is Hexbox Live. I'm going to be doing a guide on Elemental Shamans today. Now, Elemental Shamans are pretty easy and pretty straightforward. The first thing I'm going to go over is talents real quick. Okay, the first tier at level, you get at level 15. This tier is basically for survivability. It's pretty much, for PVE, it's pretty much whatever you choose. You've got Nature's Vigil, Nature's Guardian, sorry. You got Nature's Guardian, which, when you're reduced to below 30% health, your maximum health is increased by 25%, and your threat level goes down. I prefer this one because not only is the threat level down, but it's also one less spell that I have to worry about clicking or keybinding, because as you can see, my bars are pretty full. Astral Shift is really good. If I wasn't using Nature's Guardian, I would go for Astral Shift. Stone Bulwark is kind of it's more like a PvP thing. Level 30 is for CC. You've got Frozen Power, which is your Frost Shock, roots the target in ice for a certain amount of time. Earth Grab Totem is pretty self-explanatory. It basically just grabs your opponent with Earth. Windwalk Totem, this one, it's not really that good in my own opinion. It just makes you immune to movement impairing effects. It's viable for PvP. I would still go for Frozen Power and Battlegrounds though. For level 45 talent, you've got Call of the Elements, Totemic Restoration, and Totemic Projection. I prefer Totemic Projection simply because you can throw down your Magma Totem and then project it into whatever mob you're killing. That really helps with your AoE damage. The level 60 tier, you've got Elemental Mastery, Ancestral Swiftness, and Echo of the Elements. I've seen a lot of people go Elemental Mastery. It's actually really good. I actually like it in my enhancement spec. I like to pop that when I pull out wolves, but that's just preference. As an Elemental Shaman, I really like Echo of the Elements. It's basically the same thing as your Mastery as a Shaman, except your Mastery doesn't deal 100% of the spell's damage. So it's better. It's a lot better. And I believe it procs a little less than your Mastery, depending on how high your Mastery is. But it's still really good. For the 75 tier, this is all healing. Healing Tide Totem is an enormous amount of heals, especially in raid heals. This is excellent for when your raid has to stack, or when your raid is taking heavy damage. You need to get close together for those heavy AoE heals. Level 90 tiers, to be honest, I'm pretty impressed with level 90 tiers. Almost all of them. Actually all of them can be used. Almost all of them are excellent. Unleashed Fury is decent in PvP, and if you're healing for PvE. If you're an Elemental Shaman and you're using Unleashed Fury, again, it's all about playstyle, but it's not what I would go with. Primal Elementalist, it really helps with your burst, and it really helps with when you pop Ascendance and your cooldowns and all that. That really helps because your Elemental is going to deal a lot more damage. But then again, you're really focused on your Elemental and not everything else. It's not enough. I like Elemental Blast. For glyphs, I use Lightning Shield, which is when your Lightning Shield is triggered for any reason, it takes 10% less damage for 6 seconds. Now this does not have an internal cooldown. It's procs and procs and procs and procs. Glyph of Telluric Currents, this one I kind of just popped in there earlier today because I was doing scenarios and we didn't have a healer and I was running out of mana just spamming Healing Surge. So I popped that in there real quick. To be honest, that glyph spot hasn't been filled for a few days. Since the patch, I haven't really found a good glyph. This one's actually kind of been working for me. I know a lot of people will bag on me for that one, but I really like the glyph. This one is a must. Glyph of Chain Lightning is an absolute must for an Elemental Shaman. It will greatly increase your AoE damage. Your Chain Lightning will hit 2 more targets, but deal 10% less damage. Now, when you think about it, 5 targets instead of 3 for a little bit less damage, that's pretty good. 10% in some cases can be a lot of damage or healing, whatever it's talking about, but in this case, when you're hitting so many more targets than you originally would, it's a fair compromise. Alright, we're going to go over Reforges real quick. Now, before I say anything about the reforges, I'm going to say this. A lot of people prefer to go mastery over haste for elemental shamans. I don't know why, but I have seen a lot of elemental shamans switching to mastery over haste. And mastery is very good for elemental shamans. I myself prefer haste. Your reforged priorities, you need 15%. First off, 15% hit, which I'm actually a little bit over. You want 15% hit, that's just going to reduce your miss chance. And then after that, you want as much haste as you can possibly get. And then mastery is a secondary stat. So it goes hit chance, haste, mastery. Now, since you're an elemental shaman, the hit chance comes from spirit as well. So as you can see, all this gear has spirit on it. Ignore the blue shoulders. I cannot get rid of them to save my life. I have done everything possible, and I'm still trying to get rid of them. They just refuse to get off me. Anyway, as you can see, all of the gear has spirit on it. So you won't have too much of a problem getting hit capped as an elemental shaman. It's really not that hard. So you have a lot of reforges to put into haste and mastery. Now, the reason you want haste is you get more flame shock ticks, and of course it reduces the cast time of your spells. Now, flame shock ticks are important because every time your flame shock ticks, it has a chance to proc lava burst. Lava burst deals huge damage. As you can see, that's 133k with the 15-16k extra crit, and we just got a proc. So every time, you want that to proc as much as possible. Every time that procs, lava burst becomes a priority. The reason, or because of this rather, I would highly suggest making a stop casting lava burst macro, because you are using lightning bolt a lot, yes, but it is only a filler spell. And in PVE, it is only a filler spell. You're only using it until you get that other proc. So see, if a proc comes up and you're just started casting lightning bolt, another proc could come up by the time you get done casting lightning bolt. So you could have wasted that first proc when you could have gotten two of them. Your lightning bolt will eventually give you enough stacks for, as you can see, my lightning shield is going up. And when it hits about 6 or 7 stacks, your earth shock will light up. And your earth shock, you want to hit that as soon as it comes up, but make sure that you can keep flame shock on the target. So don't pop earth shock right then if flame shock's about to go off the target. You want to keep flame shock on as much as possible and your searing totem down at all times. For your burst macro, I would put in any kind of trinkets you've got or any kind of racials you've got. You want to burst. Everyone knows when to burst, obviously. When you're bursting, you definitely want to put Spirit Walker's Grace into that macro. Because if you're moving around, obviously you can't cast Lava Burst if you're moving during a high movement fight or whatever it is that's requiring you to move. So that's pretty much it on Elemental Shamans. If you guys want a more detailed on the rotation, I can certainly do that. Just let me know in the comments below and I will get to work on it as soon as possible.